It's been a bit, but it's the first one, morning after. Crimson Combine, and some great news came out of that Combine that y'all should probably hear about. I know you probably heard about it yesterday, but we like to sleep on a quote-unquote game and give our thoughts the next day. So let's keep the tradition alive, the first one of the 25 year. Let's make it happen. Before we do that, welcome to Unfair Sports. I'm your host, Jay. Thank y'all for pulling up to the channel. All right. The Crimson Combine went down this weekend. I was in attendance, of course. I saw a few of you. Shout out to you all for showing love and coming up and seeing me and our boy Chris from Horns Down. We all got to kick it and see you all, so we appreciate that. Some thoughts on the Crimson Combine on top of the Sooners getting some really good news from Brent Venables, actually some great news, as we prepare for this upcoming season. So give you my thoughts, then we'll talk about a little bit of the press conference and the one big nugget that dropped. First and foremost, everybody's talked about the Crimson Combine. I know. I haven't seen the television product, so I'm going to have to go pull that up and see what it looks like. But I'll say this. After sleeping on it, truly thinking about it, the event left a lot to be desired, but I still enjoyed myself there in person. Here's a few things I would totally change. First and foremost, calling it a combine should have just said the final practice of the spring. Now, I saw the pictures of A-Day for the Alabama Crimson Tide. They had a spring game. They had A-Day, and like the attendance was pretty awful in comparison. So the solution probably there is to maybe not call it a practice, but I still feel like if we would just say it was a practice and what was going to happen, people probably would have enjoyed it and probably tuned in more. The product was not built to be conducive as a TV product. It wasn't. That's not what it was for. You can tell. And I say that because as I'm sitting in the stands, there's like 4 different places where things are happening. You've got drills with the O-line, D-line. You've got drills with the DBs. You got wide receiver drills, and then you've got like a quarterbacks throwing to tight ends and such, and linebackers doing drill. You had them in like a whole bunch of pockets. So how do you show that in a television product? How do you show that to where people can actually sit down and enjoy it? It's really hard, especially if you're going to have commentators, because they got to commentate on 4 different things. The only way you do that is to do it a la March Madness back in the day or heck, Red Zone. You do it like you do in Red Zone, where you jump from section to section with different commentators. You can kind of do it like you have a Scott Hansen type setup. I mean, you probably have Toby Rowland be that person as they jump from different zones. He talks about what's going on, probably key in on key players that people want to know about. That's probably the best way to make that happen. But it's not built for television. It's built for being in person, and then you just go to whatever section you want to watch. The part I did enjoy the most, though, was the 7-on-7. That was fun. The 7-on-7 was a good time, because then in the 7-on-7, you got to see, when they hike the ball, the DBs and the wide receivers going into battle, linebackers watching tight ends and running backs. You got to see your wheel routes. You got to see some catches across the middle. You got to see the ball move up the field and you see some end zone, red zone plays. So you got to see what it would look like, and Mateer was out there doing it. I mean, he was tucking and running. It was definitely a lot of RPOs. Y'all not going to be happy about that. I am. If you got a quarterback that knows how to run and make really good decisions, RPO works. He did some RPO stuff. You saw him fake the handoff, boom, tucking, bolting on the opposite side, and people was missing him. So you got a lot of that. Your biggest issue, though, there wasn't enough of it. To me, you do that for 2 hours. You give the people 7-on-7 for 2 hours. Then you have like a multi-box, which like I said, I haven't watched TV production. I don't know if that's what they did. But you would need to have a multi-box, showing off each drill section. But for those in attendance, it was cool. Music was pumping. They had the inflatable stuff. They had all kinds of stuff going on. And then the players did all the signatures, which was dope. Got to see Kendall Dobie, chopped it up with Samuel Masigo as well as Reggie Power. So it was a good time. The defense guys, they Pretty stoked. Got to see Stoney and Jaden Jackson look good. You know, he didn't participate, but he was all padded up and he was going through some stuff. So the body is getting back right. But it wasn't terrible in person. It was like seeing a practice that fans never get to see. So you got a little bit of insight there, but as far as a television production, I bet it was awful. Everybody that has mentioned it to me, like, man, TV product was trash. That wasn't set up to be that. Now, hopefully they build upon it. They understand their faults and they realize, okay, this is how we make this better. So I'm hoping that they take that in mind going forward. Let me know what y'all think. Hop in the comments. Definitely want to hear your thoughts. If you watched it on television, how'd you feel? If you saw it in person, what'd you think about it? Want to hear what y'all thoughts on that. So, of course, they did the post combine pressers. You had pressers right before, where you had the coaches come in and talk, and then after you had the coaches go on, do standard press conference, which is really good. And to me, hearing BV talk about the one thing that we desperately needed, thank the Lord, he gave us some great news. What is that great news, you may be asking? I'm going to tell you right now. Sounds like Giovanni Gibson could be back before the season starts. So Brent Venables said that Giovanni, someone rolled up on him. Freak situation, something you can't control. Basically, Giovanni was blocking on a play, and a wide receiver stumbled, fell, and rolled, and he ended up rolling right on his leg, which broke his... BV said it was similar to what happened to Dolby. And since that's the case, that means that Giovanni, we thought, would be gone longer, but he said it wasn't as severe. And so because of that, there's a chance that he could be back in about 4 months. That's pretty darn huge if you can get him back in 4 months. Because Dolby was down Tennessee, which was mid-September, and he was basically cleared a month ago. But I watched him. I stood next to him. I talked to him. Of course, y'all saw him. He came here on the channel with me and Coop. And he said that he's been out the boot and he's been going through training. And I watched him go through drills. Kendall Dolby was going through drills, and he looked good. So Kendall's saying that, Katie's saying that he's going to be back for the first week of the season. Ain't far-fetched. Checks out. 100%. So because of that, now we are hoping that Giovanni can get back. So that means that as the portal opens up, we may not need no more than one wide receiver. We may actually be good. Just saying that. Know what y'all think? Hop in the comments and know your thoughts. Me and Cooper go live later today. I'll get his impressions of the combine. Hopefully you watched it. I'm going to watch the television product now and cut up some of this film from when I was there. That way I have, we have a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. But shout out to all y'all that made it. Shout out to y'all that showed up. I think they announced 16,000. Do I believe that it was that many? I don't know. But I'll say this. I'm glad that y'all pulled up. And I'm glad y'all supported him. And I'm glad y'all got signatures because the players... Hey, John Mateer was out there doing signatures the longest. And he said he'd stay all night if he had to. For the people. That's leadership, baby. That's leadership. Appreciate that, man. We'll chop it up with y'all in a few hours.